Good afternoon, friends. This is Sergey Kromchenko preaching the QA nomadic life again. But anyways, today we're bringing a guest into our virtual Zoom studio who was one of my first students from Codemify bootcamp. I literally went to the Starbucks for one of our first lessons and where I was explaining things to him and he was just knocking his head down like, oh yeah, okay. Anyways, that guy is smart as hell. Now he works in one of the educational startups in Los Angeles, specifically in Glendale, I believe. And he makes quite a bit of money. He works as the QA automation engineer, living a life in LA. And on this video, he's going to explain and share his experience of getting through the boot camp. What was it like? What it felt like? And how does it feel now to be a QA automation engineer in one of the hottest fields in the world? By the way, if some of you still not familiar with the QA or think like, what is it? I have put up an ebook which would take like 5 minutes to read that explains what it is, how do you do that, and how much money can you make, and where can you grow from the QA engineer. Just hit that link below and in the description below and check it out. But we're going to jump into this video and see how does this smart guy look like, because I literally love that guy, even though I am jealous of his presentable skills. Because whenever he talks, I'm like, I want to talk like that guy. He's too smart. Anyways, let's see it. Yo, Anton, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, my friend.
All right, well, let's kick it off. Let's tell these people who you are and where you're coming from.
Well, my name is Anton, and originally I'm from Ukraine. So that's Ukrainian power. Let's get it, baby.
Wood, that's awesome. So when did you come from Ukraine to US?
Actually, it was March of 2009.
March of 2009. Oh, cool. So you've been here for 12 years already.
12 years, yeah, almost. Yeah, I think that's 12 years already. Probably going to be, 12 years already.
Oh, wow. I came on March 18th, 2009.
Yeah, I came 27th for me.
Yeah.
A week away. That's crazy.
It is. Awesome. So now you work as the QA engineer, right?
That is correct. I work as a QA engineer for Age of Learning.
Age of Learning. So what kind of product do they do or do they create?
So Age of Learning basically has like e-learning products for kids. I think they vary from ages from starting from 2 all the way to 13. And, they have like special, I guess, math stuff for kids to learn math, to read, and a bunch of other exercises basically to kind of help them with, getting better at school, essentially.
Awesome. So it's pretty much educational platform, right?
Yeah. E-learning, basically.
Okay, perfect. So how long have you been working for them?
I think it's been a year and a half already. Once we got into November, it had a year and a half.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So you were one of our first students. I believe you were in a second group of ours, long time ago, or 2 to 3 years ago. Which is great. Yeah, we have updated our course so much since that time. So whenever you were, it was still written manually by me. I remember we started at the cafe, right?
Yeah. I think it all started from us meeting at Starbucks, and then we kind of migrated to Coffee Bean, and then there's been times where we met at your storage with all the guys. So it was definitely like a throwback. Fun times.
Nice. That's awesome. Who have you been before you became a QA engineer? Who did you work for as?
So I was working under corporate umbrella of Marriott, and I was working for one of their hotels in Beverly Hills, and I was an accountant.
You were an accountant, and then you became a QA engineer.
Awesome. That is correct.
How does it feel to switch from accounting job to being an IT nerd and wear glasses the way I do?
Well, to be honest, when I got into the accounting 6 months later, I was like, this is totally like not me. I don't want to do this anymore. Plus, in hotels industry, like we were working like you essentially get the worst offices because you work like underground because everything else is occupied by the customers. And I was like, this is so awful, like this is not what I signed up for. And that's when I reached out to you, and it was like perfect timing. You said, hey, I'm actually starting a course. And that was kind of the beginning of that all. And it's crazy because it's so different and convenient now, because like all of the people who are at the hotel, they had to start going back to work and being in the hotel and all that stuff, and I'm still working remotely. So that's kind of the biggest luxury that I see.
Yep, yep. That's nice. That's awesome. So you work remotely, and where are you at right now?
As far as my physical location, or yeah, I'm in Los Angeles, so
Oh,
in my own apartment.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
nice. That's
to be
awesome.
specific.
That's the life. It
Exactly.
looks like you're in San Francisco. Oh.
It's just my background. I like to keep it fancy, so to say.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I think you were in the same group with the gymnast and with the Uber driver, Sam. So with Georgie and Sam, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And uh, did they also find a job?
Yeah, I believe Sam got a job at Apple,
Mhm.
and Georgie also works at Audit Board. So
Yep, yep. That's pretty.
everybody graduated. I think Georgie and I, we had we got our start a week apart from each other. And I think Sam got a job not too long after that as well.
Nice.
Yeah,
Apple Board Age of Learning. That sounds cool. That sounds cool.
yeah.
That's awesome. How do you like it at Age of Learning so far?
You know what? This company is actually a super cool company. They're very accommodating to as far as like any tools that you need, any trainings that you want to do. Um, Actually, recently I have signed up for a JavaScript bootcamp, and it's by General Assembly. They offered me $1,000 credit towards my bootcamp for this year, and then $1,000 that I can get next year. So they've been accommodating in regards to that. They always want you to learn. And I think the culture overall in the company is super cool. Everybody, even though I haven't met them in person over the webcam, it's all been just cool people, cool vibes. And that's kind of the important thing for me. I didn't want to work for like a whole bunch of zombies. So I think that's the best I could describe it.
That makes sense. So they're paying $1,000 per year for your education, so you can take courses.
Yeah,
Wow,
exactly.
that's awesome. You are learning a lot, and you're
Yeah.
getting paid for it, right?
I know, exactly. That's the main thing. It's important because some companies, they don't allow you. They're so busy that there's no like allocation for self-development or personal development, but this company actually encourages it. So I've already taken like AWS training and stuff like that, even though it's like very surface level, but still, they say, yeah, if you want to do it, you can do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What other benefits do they offer there?
Um, well, you're currently working from home. I don't know if they're gonna plan to go to the office, but obviously, health, dental, vision, life insurance, as far as like kind of those benefits goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think those are kind of the main ones. So
It's
yeah,
so funny that we got used to it that we get health insurance, we get life insurance, we get dental,
yeah.
and other people who might be watching this video right now, they're like, "What do you mean, just a casual? Like, I don't have one."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they either
That's
give.
that's what
Go ahead.
that's what I'm saying. It's like some of like some of the things that we take for granted that comes with our positions. Like, hey, we're gonna give your whole family health insurance. We're gonna give all your family life insurance, and it's like other industries is like almost kind of like bizarre. It's like what you're gonna get all those benefits. So yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, that's the beauty of being a software of being in a software engineering field.
yeah.
That's quite amazing. Awesome. Where do you see yourself moving on forward? Because now you're a QA engineer, you've been there for a year and a half. You probably have learned a lot already. Where do you see yourself in 1, 2, 3 years? I don't know.
Well, certainly, like when I started Age of Learning, from the point I started to now, it's been definitely a big learning progress. So I actually started recently actively applying to different companies, and I want to get into, I guess, a different project, and also maybe possibly a different role of like an SDET, which is software development engineer and test. So I've been applying. I have actually on my calendar, let me see, 4 interviews this week for, yeah, but that, those are just like starting interviews because I just started applying last week. But they're for various roles, from QA automation engineers to SDET positions. So that's where I want to be. I still want to be in QA, but maybe perhaps a higher level.
Yep. That's awesome. That makes a lot of sense. How do you feel about starting your position? Since I remember when you just got your first offer, you were driving a car, you were like super excited, you couldn't believe that you got an offer, and you think Sharon, your girlfriend was there as well, right?
Yeah. We were on the way back from Taco Bell, and we just pulled over into like this parking spot next to a baseball field or something. It was, I don't remember. And I was on the speaker, and Sharon was writing down all the details about the offer and all that stuff on her phone. And that was super exciting because, like you go from because I was unemployed actually at that time because I got laid off by the Marriott. So to me, it was like such a thing. We're amidst of a pandemic, and all of a sudden I get an offer for a company that I applied for. So yeah, it was super exciting.
Oh wow! So you got laid off from the hotel, and then right after that you got an offer from this company, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think I got laid off in March. From March to June, I just started basically studying a lot and allocating my time. There was some period of time where I was slacking, and then I was like, no, this can't go on, because I'm not learning or doing anything. So after I started actively applying, studying, and then, I believe it was June that I got the position.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That
Yeah.
sounds like a good advice for people who are thinking about it or who are studying right now. That
Yeah.
do not slack.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like I'm a personal like testimony for that, because when I first started the course with you, I was working at the hotel. I had to be there at 6 in the morning. Then I would work, let's say 10 hours, tired, and then I would have to study for QA. But first 2 months, like I literally threw out of the window because I was like, yeah, I can study an hour here, an hour there. And I remember showing up to meetings and I'm like, I have no clue what's going on. Like, what is Sergi saying? And I'm just sitting there like this. And I feel like a couple months, literally, I just threw out of the window because I didn't allocate enough time. Only after I started dedicating hours and hours on end every day that I actually started seeing that compounding progress, because the knowledge gets just put away little by little. And if you learn just a little bit every day, at least you get better.
Yep, that makes sense. So how many hours per day you would think people at least need to spend on studying in order to be successful in this field?
Honestly, I would say nothing less than 3-4 hours per day, in addition to any sort of course material that you would give them. That's when I started seeing bigger progress. Like right now, because I've been so much more proactive about kind of advancing in my career. I usually finish work around 6:37. I would then have dinner, and then from around 8:30 to 9, I would start studying all the way until 3 o'clock in the morning. So I have that huge window of like 6-7 hours that I study every single day for probably past, I don't know, 4 or 5 months already. So it really depends how much do you want to accelerate that progress. You can get by definitely with, I think, 3-4 hours, in my personal opinion, if you just want to learn, let's say, manual or less advanced stuff. But once you want to start getting into more complex, algorithm solving, loops and functions and all that stuff, you're definitely going to have to allocate 5, 6, 7 hours. At least that works for me,
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. It's different for everybody, but yeah, I also tell people the same thing, that at least 3 hours per day, at least.
Yeah.
But the more, the better, for sure.
Of course, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. How did you feel about moving from, like, did you believe at the beginning that you're going to be moving from a counter to a QA engineer, to like completely different field? Did you really believe into it? Did your girlfriend believe into it, and did your friends believe into it?
Honestly, I think I was so ecstatic just to get into IT field and just like the tech field. And I definitely had hopes and dreams and all this stuff, because like, who wouldn't want to say, oh, like I work in tech, And for me, that was kind of like a big thing. I was like, I'm going to work in tech. I'm going to be like just constantly contemplating on it. No doubt there was like just some sort of like thing on the back of my mind. Maybe I'm not good enough. Like what we call in tech right now, imposter syndrome, where you say, oh, like I'm going to get in there. I'm not going to know anything. But of course there's going to be doubts. Of course there's going to be frustration. But other than that, I always had a vision, a long-term vision. Say, okay, I'm going to get in. I don't know when that's going to be, but I'm going to get into it.
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense. Talking about the problems and getting through them, when do you think you understood that, okay, I'm ready for it, I'm ready for an interview? Or was there a period where you were like, I'm never going to get ready for it, I don't know what's up here?
I think honestly, because our, area of tech and just, software engineering and all this stuff, it's so complex that you're never going to learn everything. So if you constantly say like to yourself, oh, I need to learn this now, and I need to learn this now, and I need to learn this now, sometimes it's enough to know what you know already and just say, okay, I'm going to make a move and get out of my comfort zone of constantly studying to now applying, and at some point, of course, I had some, sort of doubts and all that stuff. And, I'm never going to get there. But like I was talking to Georgie actually not too long ago. He reached out to me saying, hey, how's your, work searching going? And I'm saying, I already applied. I think I told him at that time it was 115 companies. Right now I'm up to 149. And I said, I feel so confident that like it just drives me to apply and apply and apply and get those interviews. Last week I had 3, this week I have 4, and this is just the start of the week. Maybe more are going to come through. But the main thing is you need to get out of the comfort zone to get that next step, because if you're just constantly studying, what are you going to do? Study for the rest of your life?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Awesome. If you would start a course from the beginning, what would you change? What would you do differently?
I think I would just study more, period. At first, like I said, a couple months were thrown out of the window because I said, I can get by, but I wasted so much time. And because if you think about it, if you're wasting every day and, that's 2 months, 8 weeks, times 5, that's a huge number. So that's like 80 hours a week. If you're just, I don't know, like, or whatever that number is, you're just wasting that. And they could have been put towards your goal and towards your vision and towards getting the job. So I think I would just study more, allocate more time, and be more curious about it. Not just, I'm going to log on, listen to what Sergi says, or to whatever the instructor would be, and tune out after it and just forget about it and say that's enough. And that's definitely not going to be enough. I would just suggest anybody just study and study and study, and it will come naturally after that. You're going to say, oh, I know what the proper steps for the bug report is and all these things, because it just so drilled into your brain that it's just going to be like a second nature.
Yeah, that makes sense. And talking about your complicated things that are parts of our curriculum, what do you think was the most difficult part of the curriculum for you?
For me, I think it was understanding the way that functions and loops work. just because it was actually, you had to actually understand the code. It wasn't just like, oh, what are the components of a bug report? Those are like human nature things that you say, oh, you got to have a good title and a good function. Oops, sorry, somebody's calling me. Instead, you actually had to understand how variables work. Yeah, so actually understanding the way the loops work, the way that the functions operate, how you can call the function, all that stuff. And being able to understand that was a more difficult part for me because I never had any experience with that, so that's just kind of my most honest answer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Were you ever thinking about quitting the course? Like, okay, I cannot pull it off. I'm not smart enough. It's just not my thing. I should probably get back to my miserable work.
Honestly, I never wanted to fail. So I never had that thing for me personally, because I'm such a like go-getter. So I started this, I'm gonna finish this. So for me, it was always like, I'm gonna get it. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna get it for sure. So that's just for me.
Yeah, I like that attitude. I wish every one of our students would have that attitude. Just go get it, no matter what.
Yeah, it pays off, trust me. Because if you like, I saw myself being an accountant as like this failure of mine. Like I was like, I can't go back and not love what I do. Like sit in the basement for 8, 10 hours a day, crunching numbers and dealing with some people that I don't want to deal. So for me, that fear of failure was just like my driving factor.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let me ask you a couple of more questions before we drop off and move on to our daily routine meetings of the
Sounds
IT
good.
jobs. What are you planning? What is your big next move? Because I know you have went from being an accountant, making 20 some dollars an hour, to being an IT person and making quite a lot of money. Are you planning anything big in your life? Any changes, movements, uh, even purchases that could just kind of explain people what you can afford now and what you're thinking about?
Yeah, certainly. So, given the fact that my girlfriend right now, she is going to be getting into real estate. She has her exam and like, let's say, on the 10th of December. And so her getting that real estate license, we're planning on investing into some properties, buying a house for ourselves personally. We need to get married. So all those things were basically out of scope for the most part, given where I was in life. But the money that I make now definitely allows me to, allocate more resources into investing, into, I don't know, like real estate specifically, our wedding, all those things. So yeah, those are like the next big moves that we need to make.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So plant a tree, get married, plant a tree, buy a house, get married, plant a tree, and then get
I
kids,
know,
right?
make a baby.
I see that. Awesome. Well, and the last classic question that we ask everyone: um, what would you advise our people who will be watching this video? What kind of advice could you give them, and all of the other people who are just starting off or thinking about moving into IT and thinking, "Oh, I'm not sure if it's my thing. It might be difficult. Maybe I will not like it. Maybe it will be boring." Actually, a lot of people say that maybe it'll be just too boring. And I'm a very creative person. I'm a dancer. I'm a singer. I do poetry.
hmm Um, you know, I think if first advice, if you want to really get into it, you need to study. Second of all, after you get into it, you will figure out what you want to do, because there's so many avenues of what you can do in tech. Like if you want to be a project manager, you don't even need to know how to code or anything. And that's perhaps you like to communicate with, I don't know, the stakeholders and figuring out how you can take the product from being an idea into an implementation. So, or, you want to go more advanced route, being a software developer. I think there's so many ways that you can kind of branch out and try before you say tech is not for me. because the guys that I work with on it at my company, I work with about 12 or 13 developers. Some of them are like from marketing majors. They wanted to do marketing in their life, but they're like staff developers right now. You know, some of them people are coming from biology majors. So I think before saying that tech is not for me, you really need to explore different avenues of tech, because like I said, there's so many ways. Maybe you want to get into data analytics, you know? So yeah, I think you need to kind of like pick and try different things. Let's say you say QA doesn't work for me. Okay, I'll try development. Development doesn't work. I'll try like data analytics, you know? If that doesn't work, maybe I want to be a project manager. So yeah, I think that's kind of like the best way to figure out where you fit in.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great advice. Well, thank you so much, Anton. It was nice seeing you. I hope we're gonna shoot another video with you as soon as you get a new job, so you could tell us about the details
Yes,
of your new job. And
I
also,
would love to do that actually. Yeah.
maybe we'll see you at the next QA party in Los Angeles, huh?
You know, I won't miss that one. Come on.
And Anna's telling me that, well, maybe we'll see you in Mexico because we're here right now.
Hey, eventually, we got to take it one step at a time, because there's like so many more other things that we need to take care of before we start traveling or anything like that. But yeah, definitely. I think after I get the new job, I would love to share the whole process of how it unfolded and all that stuff.
Awesome. That'll be a great conversation. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking the time for this call.
Of
Nice
course.
seeing you again, man. Yeah, you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.
All righty, brother. Say hi to Anna. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
How did you guys like that guy? Please leave a comment below, because I enjoyed this video a lot. It was so natural just to talk to a friend, to a colleague, to students, and to one of the smartest people I've seen so far. Anyways, don't forget to give me a big fat thumb up, subscribe to our channel, and visit our Telegram and Instagram communities, because we share much more videos and information about a QA, about a nomadic life there on those social networks. I hope to see you there. You guys have a wonderful evening, and let's see you on the next video.